Well, check this next cake out. Gonna turn up the color with the vibrant cake. Not only does it have color, but it has dimensions. See the little squiggles raised up? And then that's actually a new technique that we haven't done before. I haven't done before. Would you call it sponging? It looks like sponging.
Yeah, sponging. I love sponging. And you know, we've done it here with a violet color, but one of my favorite cakes that I ever made I used 4 different colors and I sponged 4 different colors.
Oh, how fun. Now, and you do this with fondant cake, and then that's like a buttercream or something
that's
like
buttercream on top of that.
Well, good. So we're going to start with fondant over here?
Let's start with fondant. And what I've done here is I've got it covered because we were talking, and I keep it covered because I want to make sure it doesn't dry out. Because if it dries out, it's much, much more difficult to work with. And I've got the small rolling pin that I've used on the smaller pieces because it has the correct thickness that you want to roll it out to, which is between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. That's hard to say.
Well, but it does make a difference.
Yes, it
does. How
does.
thick your fondant is as far as what you're doing with it. And it comes, you see the bright green and the orange and the yellow, but it comes in all sorts of primary colors, neon colors, so you can buy it and not have to make it from scratch.
Yes, you can. Or you can just take your white fondant, whether you make it or you purchase it, and you add your icing color to it. You want to make sure you use your paste icing color because if you don't, it gets kind of sticky. Then I'm going to cover this little cake over here, but what I also want to do is mention when you're rolling it out, you want to roll it out, pick it up, turn it, roll it out, pick it up, turn it so it doesn't stick when you get ready to actually put it on your cake.
And how do you know how to cut this? Like what size you're going to need for that little cake?
Well, with this one, in every cake, you would measure up the side, across the top, and down the side.
And add them up.
And add a little bit, yes, and add them up, and then add a little bit more so you have a skirt.
Wiggle room, okay.
So this has buttercream icing on it, and that helps fill in any crevices, and it also helps make your fondant stick to the cake. And you see, you just pick it up. It's like modeling clay.
Right.
Sometimes you'll hear it called sugar paste, especially in other countries. And then you'll just keep.
And if you're a new viewer to Bake, Decorate, Celebrate, it's easy to work with. It really is. I mean, look how quickly she covered that cake, and it just took rolling it. I mean, it's almost a childlike practice when you think about it. You roll it out. I mean, it will dry out if you leave it out too long, but if you get it and you get a wrinkle or something, if you work with it, the heat and the moisture of your hands will help you with a lot of sins, right? With
I probably should lay that back down because we can use it. And then if you're going to put a border around it, don't worry too much about the bottom. If you're not, then you might want to like tuck it in underneath your cake so that you have a nice smooth edge underneath. If you get any kind of a buckling over here, you just lift it up like a pleat. You just lift it up and then shape it back down again with your hand.
And they're fondant smoothers that you can actually work with to get that real smooth look.
And we'll
good
just
job.
move that out of the way.
Okay.
And then to make our gifts or our squares, we'll just actually use some other colors.
So you don't have to put any kind of
no,
like confectioner sugar or anything like that?
I'm using a non-stick mat, and you can put some either confectioner sugar or cornstarch down. The cornstarch has a little bit more of a drying effect, so you want to be a little bit more cautious with that.
And those are for your dots on your cake,
Yes.
right, that you just made?
Now you could also use the confetti sprinkles that are already pre-made, so you could just purchase those if you wanted to. You see it sticking a little bit there, so I'm just using a number 12 tip because it has a nice round hole that's big. And then you also could use the other side if you wanted bigger dots.
Holes. If you don't mind showing me how you make the squiggles, the little twisty things that go on top of the cake, because I think those are fun. They give it that party confetti horn
I'm just
look.
going to take, you know, a straight edge, and there's also this fondant cutter embosser that you can use to cut your strip.
And you want it nice and thin, right?
And then we'll just take a lollipop stick.
You're wrapping it around that? Okay.
And then you just let them dry.
And then it'll set up with that same shape when it comes off the stick, right?
That's it.
Okay.
And now we have it's already kind of dry.
We have the balloons right here. This is the body of the balloon.
Let me just take a little piece of yellow here. And what you're going to do is put a little cornstarch in the bottom.
Okay, in the base of your...
so it doesn't stick. Let it dry a little bit, and the old trusty toothpick. I don't know what I can do with that.
We'll lift it right out?
We'll lift it right out.
And they firm.
Yeah, I let them dry a little bit. This one's still a little moist. You can see there, and if it's still a little moist, you can just smooth it over with your hand. That one's still
give
wet.
it a tail right there. Okay, so we have
the
big
fun
kahuna here,
part.
right? Okay.
And you might want to grab your towel, and I'll put the icing on your side. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take a piece of paper towel, kind of wad it up, for lack of any other term, and get some on your cake by just pressing.
I'm sorry, why do you have this little thing right here in
Because
the middle?
that's where my message is going to be.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want us to be sponging on that side. Now this is diluted somewhat. If you get, like I just got a whole bunch on my paper towel, I might dab it on another paper towel. But it's fun. And you know, like I said, one of my favorite cakes all time was with 4 different colors sponging.
And you can do it with... problem with the husband, gonna go sponge a little bit.
Just go sponge your cake. I'm sorry.
No, you can use saran wrap for this too, right?
Yes, you can use plastic wrap if you want to. You do need to daub on your paper towel if you're using plastic wrap, because you will pick up a lot more icing than you do with your paper towel.
Are you wanting me to finish, to stop?
I'm just armed and ready to print.
Oh, okay, okay, I'll give it up.
So then we'll just lift this up, and then I'll just write happy, so it won't take too long. But I've got a small round tip. You could use anywhere from a 3 to a 5. You touch your icing down and you kind of walk it towards you. And I'm putting a little dot at the end, so that gives a little bit of an extra look to your icing.
Thank you. Now this is buttercream that you're using?
Thin buttercream.
Thinned buttercream. Yeah, I was thinking we were talking about the milestones earlier with the other cake. You could also do fun and fabulous at 50.
Oh, that's cute.
I think that describes, you know, most of the women I know, so.
Whoop. Touch
So you're
back
doing
down.
happy. And if you have a boo-boo, you can use that same
toothpick
that you were talking about.
Wonderful, but you can see I'm kind of letting it walk and then coming back over. And if you put a little extra icing when you start, or you can go back and put dots on it, it gives it just a little bit of an extra look. You see, I always walk it back, because that way then I don't have as many little strings sticking up.
Skips along the way. Well, now what is this? This is more fondant?
This is a little yellow log of fondant, and what I've done is rolled it about the same uniformity all the way across, because when you make your balls for the bottom of your cake border, you want to make sure they're all about the same size. So by having it the same size, then you can just come across here and you cut about the same distance in between. You can actually get a ruler out if you want to. So then when you make your ball, they're all about the same size.
And the balls really do give it a nice little dimension and fun look. I know we were talking about cakes for grown-ups, but that would be a great cake for a kid, or even a teenager would have lots of fun with that.
And then because these are a little bit drier, if they're very, very wet, you could use water and a brush to actually put them on your cake. And the same thing, these little spirals will need a little bit of buttercream, you know, to stick on the cake because it's dried. And then your presents, let's get a present on there.
I'm putting
These are a little bit dry,
okay.
so you could add with your buttercream, again, if it's
How
moist.
did you make that bow?
Oh, just the strip like I wrapped around the stick over there. Just make that and then just lay it on top, and then you could put a dot that you made with your tip on top.
Well, we're going to tie this project up. I'll let you keep on decorating.